Alright, so today I'm going to be speaking about the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm going to be highlighting how they've somehow become really underrated, and it's honestly baffling me. But before I get into that, make sure you like the vid, subscribe to the channel. All the links will be down below in the description, from my Instagram to my Cash App, whatever. However you want to support the channel is entirely up to you, but I'd appreciate whichever one you choose. But without further ado, let's jump right into the vid. So the Brooklyn Nets, in my opinion, are the most talented team in the league when you look at personnel-wise on the roster, and the only team that competes right now are the Clippers. I don't care what anyone says, those two teams are stacked. But people are kind of counting them out solely because of, because of what happened with Kyrie last year, the injuries they had, people aren't taken in consideration, and I don't understand that. And before you guys comment cry in the comment section, what about the Celtics and the Bucks? Those teams are great, but I'm talking about if you go player for player all around the roster, the Nets are stacked. And what really gets to me is that they're being slept on heavily, but they had a playoff run last season, excluding Ben Simmons. Kyrie Irving was only coming back into things, so it's not like he had a full year with the Nets, which in my opinion will change next year. Joe Harris was out, TJ Warren was not on the roster, Royce O'Neal hadn't yet been acquired, and these are key areas which they needed to add, which they added in. Now, let me just straight up go up with this. When Kyrie plays consistently, the only point guard I can comfortably say is better than him, not even comfortably, but can say is better than him, is Steph Curry, and that's about it. And next season, there's not going to be any mandate. He can play in New York, and he can play overall. So I really do feel like Kyrie's going to show up a lot of people who decide to criticize him. And does he have his faults? Yes, because the year before that, Kyrie was taking off these mystery days off for whatever reason, which was completely unacceptable. But I feel like Kyrie's going to come into the season with a chip on his shoulder and to prove a lot of people wrong. Same as KD. Yes, KD's been getting clowned this offseason, but we need to forget I feel like he's the best player in basketball right now, if not top 2 of Giannis and top 3 of LeBron. So I don't really understand why people sleep on that. Ben Simmons is the talk of the town because he's the class clown almost, and yes, I'm a Sixers fan, so do I really like Ben Simmons? No, but I really do appreciate what he does bring to the table when he's healthy. He's probably the best defender 1, 2 through 5 behind Giannis, and he's one of the best facilitators on his day as well. And a confident Ben Simmons can easily give you 16, 8 and 8, and pair that alongside KD and Kyrie, that's going to be brilliant. The last time we saw TJ Warren, he was an efficient 19-point per game scorer, and the 5 games we saw him in the year before last, he was still a good 15-point per game scorer on about 55% from the field. TJ Warren really did make that ascension during the bubble, however he's been hindered with injuries. But we're forgetting, even if he comes back 80% of that, that's a plus defender you're getting, a great wing player who can really get you a bucket and also lock in on the other side of the floor. So if you thought about the ingoings and outgoings, you lost Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin, those are the notable ones that you've lost, and you brought in Royce O'Neal, you brought in TJ Warren, and most notably you're getting back Ben Simmons. If you ask me, that is a scary lineup, because they might have one of the best depth lineups in the entire NBA when I'm talking about small ball lineups, because they could easily run a lineup that's like Kyrie, Seth Curry, KD, TJ Warren and Ben Simmons. In my opinion, that's one of the best lineups you can possibly get when it comes to small ball, because it's a small ball lineup, but they're not actually small, because Ben Simmons is 6'10", KD's damn near 7 foot, and it's going to be a lineup that can really give them a lot of flexibility on the offensive side of the ball. And not to mention they get back Joe Harris, so they're going to get they have 2 of the best 3-point shooters in basketball. When I'm talking about catch and shoot guys, can shoot off the move. Seth Curry, in my opinion, has kind of elevated from Joe Harris, because I feel like Joe Harris is a very good catch and shoot guy, whereas Seth Curry, as well as being a great catch and shoot guy, he's also a very good scorer. So that just adds another dynamic to the offense, which will just make the Nets so hard to check on the defensive side of the ball. Now, overall, I know I might get backlash for this video because people just love to hate, but I just don't understand when you now have a team with a perfect mix of scoring, defense and 3-point shooting. If their only weakness is one thing, it's the center position, and it's always been. But in my opinion, I really wouldn't be surprised if Nick Claxton takes that leap that been expecting him to take, and even if he doesn't, Miles Turner's openly on the trade block, and they still do have 1 first-round pick which is tradable via Philadelphia, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's used around the trade deadline if things start getting desperate. So if you add a solid starting 5 to this team that can play both ends of the floor, only the sky's the limit for the Nets. And if they're fully healthy, I'll tell you right now, not one team in the Eastern Conference is beating them. Even my Sixers, I actually don't believe that, because the Nets are a force. But the massive point is if. And I know if is very you know, 50-50 with the Nets, because you have a lot of people who don't like playing basketball, particularly the two Australians, Ben and Kyrie Irving. But I feel like with a full season under the belt, with everything behind them, they're both going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, like I said earlier, and they're going to come out balling, don't get me wrong. And the only thing that's going to hold back this Nets team is going to be injuries, which I fingers crossed hope doesn't happen. Even though I'm not a fan of this team, I would never wish injury upon any sort of team. I would love to see a full NBA season where guys are fully healthy and the best team wins, but that's unrealistic. But hopefully they stay healthy. But the only thing holding them back, I should say, is either Steve Nash or the people I've named, which I'm not going to go over again. But let me know what you guys feel about the Brooklyn Nets in the comment section down below. I know there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be crying at my opinion. I know some guys are going to be agreeing with my opinion. That's the whole point of YouTube. Let's agree to disagree, and let's have positive arguments in the comment section down below whilst keeping it respectful. But I appreciate you guys for listening to the video. Stay blessed, and I'm out. Peace.